Hi, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a couple of months since we've been able to release some new content. That's just because we've been working off video on our rough terrain forklift. It's a 1970s Alice Chalmers rough terrain forklift that needed an engine rebuild and a whole bunch of other repairs. So we've been occupied in the last couple of months working on that. We'll be able to show you the outcome of that project once the weather gets a little bit warmer. But for now, we thought you'd be interested in a new project that we're starting, and that's on a 1988 Ford Mustang Fox body. The car belongs to a friend of mine. The car came back from a garage, but without an engine and transmission and a bunch of parts. So what we had to do was, or what he did, is that he sourced a bunch of parts, including an engine, transmission, and a bunch of other things, so that he could put that into his car, get the car back on the road. He asked me if I'd help him with going through the motor and doing the work, getting the car complete again and hopefully roadworthy. So that's what we're gonna do. I got the engine here. It's a Ford 302 cubic inch, and it's 100% stock. It's the stock induction system. And we've opened it up, we've taken the intake manifold off and removed the valve covers, and we looked inside and things look pretty good. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he's comfortable with. So he's asked me to get the engine and the transmission back in, so that's what we're going to do in the next couple of videos. So the very first thing we're going to do now is to get this thing complete. I'm going to go ahead and install this piece right here, which is it's a metal piece that keeps these forks down in place, because this is a roller style lifter, and so there's these keepers in place that keep the lifters from rotating. So that's why you have to lay this piece in here, and that keeps them from moving. So we're going to go ahead and start with that. Once that's in, then we'll go and install our new gaskets, our new intake manifold gaskets, and get the intake installed. So because this is a inner engine piece, I'm just going to be on the conservative side and just put a little bit of blue Loctite on these bolts, because I don't want these things coming loose in here. So I'm going to put some blue Loctite on that and then get that down. And make sure that they're tight. Okay. So I bought a gasket kit from Felpro for this engine, and the part number for that kit is KS2337. And in that kit, I basically got everything I'm going to need for this rebuild. And the next step will be to install our intake manifold gaskets. And you'll see stamped on them head side. So head side just means they go up against the head like so. Okay, that means head side. All right, so that just shows how they're going to go on. But what I'm going to mention first is that off camera, I've wiped all the surfaces here, like these metal surfaces, with wax and grease remover, because you want to make sure that those surfaces are extremely clean and free of any grease or oil. And now I'm just going to use a Permatex gasket maker, and I'm going to just start off by putting gasket maker in this intersection between the head and the block, right in here. And then later on, of course I'm going to fill this part and that part in. Let me just tape this like this so that it doesn't fall. Now I take the intake and I want to lay the intake manifold straight down into place. Nice and square. Make sure that all the bolts, they go in. And of course, we're gonna definitely have to torque these bolts down, but what I want to do is just get them started. And these bolts, I believe they're torqued down to 25 foot-pounds. It's always a good idea maybe to put some tape on top of the intake manifold just to make sure that you don't drop anything inside while you're doing this kind of work. It's a good practice, and I'll have to get a 1/2 inch deep socket because as you can see, these are studs. So let me get a deep socket for that. Okay, so I'll just use the deep socket. Go down on that and just get all these bolts started. I should mention that the surface, or the mating surface of the intake manifold was also cleaned and wiped down thoroughly with some grease, what do we call it? Grease and wax remover, just so that that surface was perfectly clean and ready to make contact with its gasket. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'll get my torque wrench out. I'll start with 10, and what I'm going to do is start in a crisscross pattern. And work my way out. So I'll start here. And then go up to the outside. and then do the center. Okay, so that's the very first start. Okay, so we started with 10. I'm just going over. Making sure I have everybody at 10 first. Okay. And now I'm going to do is I'm going to step up my torque. Let's get this out of the way. Just move that. Just move that like that for now. Okay, and now we'll do a next step. Okay, and we begin again. You ready to lean that side? Okay. And now I'll go to my final 25 and then repeat the whole process again. Okay, so one of the things to look for when you're installing this is see if you get a good squish in the sealant that you apply. So as you can see right down here, some of the Permatex has moved through. So I'm just going to put my finger and I'm just going to wipe that off, just like that. The next part that the customer wanted, or the friend wanted, was to install a new thermostat. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to install the thermostat and install a new thermostat gasket. So what I'll do is I'll just use this opportunity and I'll clean up the surface with some wax and grease remover. So I'll just clean the surface, make sure there's no contaminants on it. Okay, and then over here on the housing, this is the housing that goes on the front. So I've already done this, but I'll just do it one more time to show on camera. Just make sure that this surface is clean. Okay. Now, here's the old thermostat, and here's the new thermostat, and it's part number 300-180-13008, and we'll install a brand new thermostat. So I have a little bit of sealant holding the gasket in place, and now I'm just going to install the thermostat, get my bolts ready. Okay, so let's get this in place, shall we? Shall we? So I will dump this out. Let's get this pipe reinstalled. Pop that back on, and then I'll get a flat blade screwdriver, tighten that down. What I want to do is get the distributor put back in, because we took the distributor out. We didn't turn the motor over, and I made a mark there so that I knew exactly where to put the distributor back in. Okay? So if you look down here, this is where the distributor goes. I put some paper towel in here to keep things, foreign objects, from falling inside. So we'll take that out. These bolts here, I've got them clamped down or torqued down. We have this hose reinstalled. There's another hose that goes from here to here. We can put that on, but let's just slide our distributor back in, just so I don't have to worry about timing. So here's the distributor. Here's the little yellow mark that I made, and that's going to come, and that's going to mesh in here. So we'll get that, we'll slide that down inside. There we go. So it turned a little bit. So chances are the timing's going to be off just a little bit, but that's fine. I mean, I can do the final adjustment of the timing after the fact. That's okay. And then your distributor is held down by this little hold down or keeper. So we'll go ahead and set that in place. That goes right down in here. That sits right down in here like this. So you go and put that in position and you cinch that down. I'm not going to put this too tight because it looks like we'll have to make a small little adjustment there. Okay, let's go ahead and attach this hose here before we forget. I just got some chainsaw oil. I'm just going to put that on here so that the hose slides on easier. Oh wow. There was a nut inside. Good thing we recovered that before putting it on. Okay, so it's just a little segment of hose. Maybe we should put our ride clamps on first. What do you think? Where did that come from? Is that another nut that came out of there? How many more are in there? Just kidding, there's nothing. There. Okay, now we'll get this one in place. Move that down like that. All right, so we'll tighten this rad clamp here, down here. I guess we're gonna have to do a little bit of adjustment on the timing just because I was hoping that I'll be able to get that distributor in. But, well, we did get it in, it's just that it moved, so oh well. We'll get a timing light and we'll time the engine when the time comes. Okay? Alrighty. Next step, we'll replace valve cover gaskets. So this one valve cover has already been removed. So let's remove the valve cover gasket. Okay, so this is a valve cover gasket. Looks like the kit has supplied us with brand new cork ones. So I guess these guys, that would fit right on there like so. Okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up this surface first, and then we'll put this in place. There. Nice, clean surface. Have a look at this. Valve cover gasket. High temperature area goes down below. So, that means the valve cover, or the valve cover gasket goes on like this, with this area here being the high temperature zone, so that goes down below. So that goes like that. Interesting. Here's the valve cover. And this goes like this. Now we gotta try to get the holes to line up. There we go. Okay, so let me get bolts. Actually, the one that's giving me the hardest time now is this one here for some reason. It's a little bit downward pressure to keep it from moving. Just holding this hand tight till they all get put on. So this one's done. Let's take this valve cover off next, and we'll replace this gasket. Once we finish this, we will continue. Okay. Okay, so we'll take this valve cover off. Bingo. This one's off. And we'll repeat the process for this one. Off comes the gasket. And then I'll use a surgical blade and just go around and just remove any large chunks on here. And then maybe go over it after with a little bit of sandpaper, just to make sure that any large debris that might be on the surface has been removed. Just to clean it up a bit. Okay. New gasket is in place in the right configuration. So now we're just going to line up the holes. I'll start with the top. And this time maybe start it a little bit. Okay, go. I don't know why they won't. Unless... That just holds down this bracket here on this this coolant line. So you just feed that down there like that. Okay. That's in. I've got a ride clamp here that I got to tighten down. Okay, so we have the two valve cover gaskets in place. What I'll need to do later on is tighten those down. Okay, but for now I'm just gonna leave them. Oh, look at this. This one here goes here, so this will have to go. Actually, this one here can be tightened down as well. Just tighten this down. I don't want to crush the hose, so you just meet it, okay? This radiator clamp is unique here. Huh, interesting. It's probably best to deal with all this now before the motor goes in. Might be difficult to get access to all this once the motor is in the body. The next gasket we're going to replace is right down here. Right down here there's a blank on the timing cover. This bolt was loose, this one is tight, so let me take this one off. As you can see, it's just a blank, so I'm going to clean that off, remove the gasket that's there, and I'll replace it with the new gasket. Okay, so I'll remove the gasket. There it is. Okay. Our new gasket is right in here, but I'll clean off that surface first, and then I'll wash my hands before I handle that gasket. Extract the new one. Here's a new one. Fits nicely on that plank. Get the two bolts, and we'll come down here. Okay. That's it. I guess we'll put the intake on now, so we'll remove our protection tape. Not bad. I'll use a little bit of brake clean just to clean that surface, but I gotta get a paper towel. The kit came with a brand new gasket. Whoop, I guess I had it right the first time. No, I didn't. So it doesn't go like this, and it doesn't go like this, so I guess it has to go like this. This part down, this part up. Okay? And now what I'll do is, I'll grab the, oh, let's have a look at the underside of the intake. Here's the old gasket, which actually didn't look that bad anyway. I'll just give this a clean. Don't do like clean. A lot of people tell that. It's for a big fuss. Alright. See? See? Lay that on top like that. You know what I'm thinking? Maybe we put that on last because it may not be easy to try to get the injector electrical lines hooked up if I got the intake in place. That's right. So no, I don't like it. So we'll leave it off for now. We'll reapply some tape. All right. I thought we'd be able to do that now, but I think once the motor goes in, then I'll do my electricals. I'll make my electrical connections for the injectors. Once that's done, then put the gasket in and then drop it on. Okay, but now we have to change the oil pan gasket. That means removing this block here at the front, removing that 4x4, and then rotating the engine upside down, remove the oil pan, change the gasket. Then we'll install our exhaust gaskets and put on our headers. So anyway, one step at a time.